Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What's Quiet or Not, your weekly show where you hear my opinion on certain things that's going on in the world and got a lot to go through. So we can start off the just a reminder, this is being live streamed on YouTube and on Facebook. So anyone who would like to interact with us while we are doing this could just pop a comment into any of the comment sections on Facebook or on YouTube, and it will come through here on Restream, and I'll be able to answer any questions or whatever that you may have. So let's just get into it already. What's KWAI? Online breaking. So, what is breaking? Breaking is one of the elements of hip hop. If you have been living under a stone and you do not know this, it's time to come out from underneath that rock and educate yourself. Now, online breaking has been this new, how can I say, tool that the community has used in order to create that sense of the battle still. Um, yes, we are battling over live streams. Yes, we are in our isolated areas, but we are not face to face with people. This is a workaround to what we actually want, which is the events. Which brings me to what is not quite, and that is corrupt governments and their officials. I know I spoke about governments yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. I did say I included Natin Tetwa and I included government agencies like SASA and so forth and ESCOM. But I think that for this episode, I'm going to concentrate on government officials themselves. Um, if you have a high office in power, like a high seat in office, then it becomes very easy to abuse your power. So it's a abuse of power that is causing these people to be corrupt and not follow through what they actually promise us. And I think this is a global thing. This is not just in South Africa. This is across the globe. Corrupt government officials misuse taxpayers' money, time, and their passion for their countries and their patriotism. I mean, patriotism has been used many a times in wars to go fight for oil or whatever you like people will fight for nowadays. On that somber note, I want to say what is Kwai? I think what is Kwai is the amount of clothing brands that I've seen popping up recently. Um, I think it is because of the lockdown. I think it is because some people were designers and they had to give up their work to to go into something else. They had to give up their passion to go into a 9 to 5. You understand? So for these years, for these past years, um, they have been having these feelings of getting back into their passions, and I mean, out of necessity, the the pandemic actually pushed people towards getting back into their passions and back into fashion design. And I think I like how it is going. They back in I would say the 80s to the 90s, there was a big fashion industry within Cape Town, and that all but died out during the 2000s when the Department of Arts and Culture merged with the Department of Sports, and the mandate completely shifted away from the arts and the cultures uh, industries and towards sports. And with that shift came a lot of corruption. So, I mean, we first had to identify the corruption before we could even, find out what was up. Before we could even wipe our eyes, everything was messed up already. So now we are making this resurgence within the industry. And I think that's a very quiet thing that is going on now. I feel like we need to put our money where our mouths is and start buying local. Like, really. I mean, if you have a friend, I know there's one guy who's making sneakers out of Joburg. I still want to cop one of his sneakers, but his sneakers are 1,500 rand. It is 900 rand on a special order, and it is totally unique. I actually want to start incorporating it into my breaking. And just to clarify, when I said online breaking, as in I was actually participating in any battles, just to clarify, I haven't been participating in any battles. That has been my not KWAI moment. What is not KWAI? To not stick to your practice times. That's not KWAI. And I am going to get back into that in this week. It is all part of this campaign to grow my content and my online presence. So, what is KWAI is people who are never giving up, people who are always pushing for what they want. And I will say why it is KWAI, because in this day and age, think about it like this. After the pandemic, there's a lot of jobs that's been cut. A lot of people are getting retrenched, right? Now, that means that jobs are even more rare. They are even more sought after. More people are applying for more jobs. But how do we actually turn that around? Some people will have to go out and create jobs. There's no way around it. People have to go out and take the risks of starting businesses, of having those businesses fail maybe. If it doesn't fail, good. If you don't quit, that's even better. We don't need people who are quitting. We don't need quitters. We need winners. We need more winners. And I think that's also what's quite of nowadays is that there are more people who are going out there and saying, I want that. That's what I want. And I will not stop until I have it. And I believe that given a little push, everyone can get to that point where they are comfortable and they are happy and they are stress free. I mean, if you have everything you want, right, then you could say that you're living stress free, right? But if you don't have everything that you want, not having it is already stressful for you because you feel like you are in need, right? Now, there are other ways to look at needing or neediness. Are we now going to say that we need a car? You don't need a car, you can walk, but you need a car to travel safely from Somerset West to Cape Town, for example. Nowadays, you do need a car. So, if you frame things differently, then you see that the need is there. Now, what has to be the next step for all of us or for most of us? Because if most of us have this feeling of creating more jobs, then a lot of us will get jobs. We can go find jobs. It won't be that rare anymore. But also, what I think is very important is this entire feeling of helping one another. And I think this is how we can help one another. So, if you have any ideas or dreams or stuff that you want to achieve, right? Make the conscious decision to go for it, regardless of what other people might say, because you never know when that solution or that idea that you have, it might be something that could help the next person. And also, don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. I mean, I always say this: with this time and age that we are in right now, we have no excuses. I recently published a post on Uptrend, and that's a crypto social media platform when you actually earn crypto for putting up good content on a social media platform. And the post that I published was about the personal MBA written by Josh Kaufman. Kaufman? How do you say it? Kaufman? Kauffaman. Kaufman. So the book talks a lot about the need to be able to educate yourself. Wow, 36 views, man. Hey, we are at the mercy of those who provide us with technology. I want to learn electronics so that I can build my own Wi-Fi, my own computer. Well, not my own computer. I mean, yeah. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, it was out of my hands. I'm not part of the Wi-Fi gods out there or the fiber gods or whatever. But I'm back now. I just heard that the family meeting is starting at 8 p.m. and that's the last part. I did allude to family meetings earlier, but that's the last part of our episode. I'm gonna end it on there. What's not quite family meetings? The fact that we are finding out about these things over social media before we find out about it on the news is just baffling to me nowadays. I mean, how are we being led by these people? We are not being led, we are just following. This is what's not KWAI. It is our intense need to follow these people. You don't need to follow them. You know what would be KWAI? Initiative and innovation. So let's keep pushing. Let's keep going forward. Stay healthy. stay safe, and keep being KWAI. See you guys on the other side.